Welcome back to Crypto Front. This is the front line where we are fighting together side by side for financial freedom. Let's go ahead and take a look at Quant, because I've figured out some charts across the market which are indicating a very positive picture here for the Quant price. Honestly speaking, I'm very much pumped, and I think that this is going to be pumping the price as well in the immediate short term, right? So we'll take a look at it from a daily time frame perspective. We'll look at this local price that we see, because yes, this is usually the chart that a lot of people see here on Quant, but that is actually not the whole picture. If you just take a step back, you can realize that this thing has been there ever since 2018, and the price action here is looking actually very much good, right? So before we start, I want to kindly ask you to help me spread the video by delicately tapping the like button. It will tell the YouTube algorithm that this information is actually very much relevant. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you want to be seeing more and more of these Quant updates, please subscribe to the channel, turn on that notification so that you'll be able to receive the updates as we make them, right? So right out of the gates, let me take a bigger picture here and take you a little bit back from where the price actually begins. This is the Quant price action ever since 2018, and what you see here on my right side is the Bitcoin price action, right? Now, there are a lot of similarities on these charts, and this is something that we have seen time and again with emerging assets, that in their first run, it's a little bit of haphazard and stuff like that. It's not really clear what is happening here, and you see also pretty much the same thing happening with Bitcoin price. It was insane back then, right? So that's what you see here as well on the Quant price. Then you have got your first pit stop here, and of course you see the same thing with the Quant price action back in 2021. Then of course you go for your first major rally, which is this moment here. You can also see the same moment here for the Bitcoin price. Then obviously after that, you are kind of consolidating a little bit in this whole accumulation thing before you head out for a parabolic run. Then if you come back to Quant, I think you can easily appreciate that this is also that rounded kind of a thing leading into this parabolic run that we have been seeing here, especially with assets like the Bitcoin price. So this is basically where we are coming from, and we are trying to understand that, look, in the coming few months or something like that, we could actually be seeing the price higher than $2,000, because it's something that is just very common with structures like these ones. Other than that, if you're going to be taking a much more simpler approach, using a different method altogether, you could go ahead and say that, look, this is something that looks like wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, this is wave 4 right there. Then of course you're anticipating a fifth wave that shows up right there, and again the anticipation here is that this whole thing is going to be pulling itself up and heading into way bigger price targets. So I think the background is very much clear right there. So coming to where we are today here with the price section, I think that it's very much clear to see that this is a wake of accumulation pattern. If I may just go ahead and probably hide this drawings, you can see it very much clearly right there. Then maybe a schematic will be able to do the job to explain what's what right there. You can see that we usually have got 5 phases, right? Phase A, B, C, D, and E. And Quant is somewhere right around this, last point of sell, and it is looking for that big breakout, a back test, and then off and away we are going. So that's pretty much very exciting for what's about to happen here with the Quant price. But if you notice, I hid some drawings right there, which themselves are very bullish patterns. You can see that this is a falling wedge, and falling wedges, statistically speaking, have got a 66% probability to hit their price target, which is usually the top of the wedge. And you can see that in this phase, falling wedge, we were able to reach the price target right there at the top. And then of course in the second one right there, pretty much the same thing, even exceeding the top of the wedge. Then you see where we are today, we've got a third falling wedge that is actually emerged right there. I remember I talked about it back in April. And what we are seeing is that the price is really starting to get to the technical price target of this whole thing. However, I think that we are going to be seeing the price do way much better than just the top of the wedge, which I will say at this point is right around $180 or something like that. I think this is going to be broken. Why? Because this is actually a very critical moment. If you take your Fibonacci retracement 2s from the very top right there until the bottom of the wake of accumulation pattern, please notice that what just has happened here for Quant over the last few years is that it has just been consolidating below the first Fibonacci retracement level here. I mean, this I've said at some point in the past that it's like keeping a ball underwater, right? At some point, I mean, it's just going to be bursting out. You can't really keep it that low. So this thing has accumulated for years, and we actually have got data that shows that there has been a lot of accumulation happening here with Quant. What you see here on this top line is the amount of Quant that has been on exchanges, and you can see that over the last few years, this has actually drastically dropped towards the downside, meaning that people have just been accumulating the whole thing, accumulating it off of exchanges and putting them maybe on cold storage or different other wallets. And in the meantime, we didn't see the price doing much, right? A lot of people have just staked this and are waiting for the price just to start, pushing towards the upside and then, start selling. So in my opinion, in terms of like how long we're going to be taking to start pumping, I don't think it's going to be a long time, because for years, people have just taken those quant, tokens and then put them in their private wallets and stuff like that. And just to be specific, by the way, we only have like about 1.25 million tokens that are on exchanges right now out of the 14 million that we have. I mean, these numbers are very, very small. So there is going to be a lot of, a supply crunch, in my humble opinion, when people are going to be realizing that, oh, the price is now at $200. Let's just go ahead and buy this whole thing. It's going to $2,000. It's going to be a little bit late, in my opinion, but that supply shock is definitely coming here for Quant, right? It's, if you think about it, very much more scarce here than Bitcoin. And yeah, understand one thing, in this market, when the price really starts moving towards the upside, it also draws in new people, and then the demand also goes higher. So you have got a perfect recipe, or what we call a perfect storm here for, the Quant price to go ahead and do something special. So at this point, I think that one big takeaway from this is Quant is stuck under this, resistance, but it's not going to be holding for a very long time. Actually, if you think about it, Technical Analysis 101 tells you that the more you hit on a support level or a resistance level for that matter, actually is the more likely you're going to be able to break above it, and you're going to be doing such in violent fashion. And you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If we do it, this is going to be the 8th time. I don't think that the resistance is going to be holding anymore. So we're looking pretty much great here for Quant. I think it's one of those charts where you're like, okay, you just wake up and look at it and understand that this thing is actually very much bullish right there. So if I may draw a path right here, I'm anticipating from the falling wedge that I showed you earlier on that we break this $180 resistance, we back test it in some kind of a way. Maybe it takes a few weeks or something like that, but eventually I anticipate this whole thing starts moving very much quickly. Now let's get to the most interesting part, what a lot of people are waiting for. How high do I anticipate the Quant price to go? I think that is very simple. We are referring to our Fibonacci retracement tools from the very top right there until the bottom. And what we see here is like a full Fibonacci extension. Right now it's showing 1,900 something, but I think what we have seen time and again is $1,700. So I think that's the range where I am currently, and I'm very much confident in that, because I've also seen structures do that kind of a thing time and again. I was showing you maybe the Bitcoin price earlier on, but we can also refer to Ethereum back in 2021, the bull run that it had. You also saw that was something like, a full Fibonacci extension. And that is also the same thing that we just measured there with Quant. So $1,700 is a price target that I have for this specific token, and I think it's going to be something that is very much achievable. I also showed you the Bitcoin price right there, which is pretty much a blueprint for what Quant can do, because that's also very much common with emerging assets and stuff like that. So that's where we are currently with the Quant price. I hope that everything is pretty much understood. Over the next few days, we may have a little bit of a shaky market, because the United States president is going to be applying like tariffs across a lot of countries starting tomorrow, which is the 1st of August. So it may be a little bit shaky for a moment, but what we have seen, if history is going to be any indication of the future, is that these things, they get resolved. So it's in the thick of the chaos right now, where there probably is an opportunity for Quant to go ahead and do something special as well. So I'm not really fazed about that, but I can also understand that that can bring about a little bit of volatility, but in the long run, pretty much nothing, right? So the Bitcoin price itself is indicating that a huge move is coming, and I also think that that huge move can also bring about a breakout here for the Quant price. So I'm looking at the Bollinger Bands here, and you can see how they are being squeezed to the fullest. I mean, this is really, really crazy. So this is not going to be taking a very long time. We'll be waiting to see in which direction this whole thing goes. But if I'm just to be honest with you, because I don't want to be the guy who says if this happens, then this, no. My anticipation is that we continue breaking towards the upside, heading towards something like $150,000 here for the Bitcoin price. And then of course, in that moment, Quant absolutely goes nuts. So thank you so much for watching the video. If you could, please delicately tap the like button, share the video with friends and family. And then if you want to be seeing more of this content, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Take good care of yourselves. Bye bye.